Charlie Dimmock,
Boys!
the Rich Brothers, and the Garden Rescue team have a treat in store.
Too much entertainment.
They have come to the rescue of hundreds of British gardens. Now it's time to look back and pick their favourites.
This looks really cool. Fabulous.
As they celebrate the very best.
I don't like it. Huh? I love it.
From extraordinary eco-gardens
Thank you so much.
to exotic designs.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Gardens inspired by people
Is this the garden that you dreamed of?
It is.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that's a thumbs up.
and places.
It's the most beautiful garden I've ever been in.
Therapeutic spaces
Wow.
and the most extraordinary transformations.
It is perfect.
Welcome to Garden Rescue.
Top of the plots.
Right, Chaz, what are we talking about today?
Today is all about those exotic gardens we've done where we've put a spin on it. So we've gone from Malaysia to Zambia, India via Watford.
Broad section.
A big broad section.
Almost those gardens that make you feel like you're on holiday.
Yeah. Do you remember Mike and Lizzie in Bourne?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Bit of a Caribbean theme.
Ah,
he was from the
yes.
Caribbean, so they wanted that vibe in the garden.
Every garden rescue is something to be proud of, but our first exotic top of the plots transformation was to bring a taste of the Caribbean to Mike and Lizzie's rather bland garden.
Hello.
Hi.
The Rich Brothers design introduced tropical flavours with a new seating area, lush planting, and an inventive use of some old barrels.
For us, it's all about that outdoor lifestyle. Eating, dining, barbecuing, drinking.
There's a lot to do, and the team's first job is to get rid of all the old hard landscaping.
Well, everybody gets decking down, but one thing first. Better meet my brothers before I start dismantling.
And before long, the cement's been mixed and the contemporary style flagstones can go down. With the old wooden deck ditched, Lee's making a start on the fixed seating.
I'm just laying these down on the side, just to give it a bit more stability. And then I'm going to run 2 course on top of this, upright, and get some render on them. That's the plan.
The couple already have some exotic plants in their garden, including some cordylines. And Charlie's first job is to tame them.
These are Cordyline australis, and people used to think that they weren't very hardy at all, but these green ones are actually very robust and will do quite happily outside. You don't need to protect them at all. The common name for them is Torbay palms because they were used down on the seafront in Torquay, and if you go down to Torquay, you'll see they're huge and they look just like palm trees. So if you really want to go for a tropical jungle effect, cordylines are ideal.
Well, they are gorgeous, aren't they? And they're going to add a lot to this garden, but they can tend to get a little bit mental.
Well, they're sort of a bit blobby at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, lovely sort of fronds of foliage, but see, there's really gorgeous trunks to them. So if we
Lovely.
can expose that a bit, it will really pick up that tropical
Yeah.
sort of theme. And what I thought is if I save these up into bunches, you see, I can make you a nice grass skirt.
Oh, please.
For your rumba.
Oh, my rumba.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's enough.
I'm sure we'll have plenty.
As the exotic transformation marches on, Lee's finished the blockwork seating, and now he and Andy add a one-coat render, whilst Charlie makes that grass skirt for Harry.
Right then, sir.
Look at that. My dream did come true.
They tell me that the style is long this season.
The style is long. You've even plaited the end there.
I have. Do you want to cable tie that onto him? And then
Cable tie? That means it doesn't come off.
Yeah, that's the one.
Is that my day ended now, is it?
Yeah, there you go.
Ended, just
Look at
started,
that.
mate, just begun.
All you need now is a coconut and a straw to drink out of.
Hey! Right, I'm back to work.
Oh, another piece here, look, bonus.
With Charlie getting into the spirit, she's had an idea which will give the garage a Caribbean twist. Sheets of corrugated iron are easy to pick up at reclamation yards nationwide. Lee screws uprights to the garage wall, and then it's ready for the corrugated iron.
Right, first bit going in. Bit of brute force and ignorance is required.
You do
And
brute
it's
force.
very satisfying. David and Harry, David and Harry.
The brothers' design also features an inventive way of recycling some brightly painted barrels.
You look at them and you initially think oil containers, but nay, they had a different and more exciting past. They actually were used to contain fruit juices, probably colour coordinated, nice and tropical flavours. So what we're going to do is put some herbs in, put a few plants out here. Great position that they can walk straight out of the kitchen, pick a few herbs, put them in their drinks, or take them back into the kitchen.
And because they were only used to transport fruit juices, it means that they've got no nasty chemicals in them. So they're free to plant up with edibles, but what we've got to do now is fill them.
On the other side of the garden, Charlie makes a start on painting the framework of her corrugated iron creation.
So, clad it with our nice rusty tin, and just to smarten it up, I'm going to paint the timber black. And that should sort of bring it all together as one. Now, if it were me, I would have painted this really bright colours. But the boys want it tasteful. They only do tasteful. I do tacky and bright.
The boys have now filled their barrels with pebbles and soil, and Charlie's got some plants.
Da-da-da! Have some
Timing.
mint and coriander.
Lovely.
What do you think? What do you think of me rustic,
I
posh,
love
Caribbean
that.
posh? I made it posh just for you boys, because you didn't want it too real.
No, I love it. I think it's brilliant.
Very elegant.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, you lose it now, but not in a bad way, the way that it feels fitting with the
Yeah.
garden.
I'd stop talking now
Yeah.
if I were you.
Done.
Right, what's the next thing then?
Let's get some stuff in here.
Planting herbs outside your back door is great for cooking, but they also discourage flies because they hate the smell.
We kept it really simple by just planting up some mint and some coriander. And the mint can be great in drinks and cocktails. And the coriander is going to go great in salads and maybe on the barbecue.
With the garden nearly finished, the team crack on with the rest of the Caribbean-inspired exotic planting.
Round the back of the seating area, got these gorgeous Miscanthus sinensis. I've got these lovely purple seed heads that sort of just waft over the seating area, and then it's picked up with this sort of prairie planting with rudbeckias and crocosmias. So this will just be a sea of grasses and hot yellows and reds, so it'll look fabulous next year.
With some turf laid and the last plants added, the garden is finished. It was an unloved, rough old space that's been transformed into a Caribbean tropical treat. But will Mike and Lizzie think it's an exotic paradise?
Whoa,
Wow! Oh my gosh, no way!
completely changed.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That reminds me of the Caribbean.
Hey, you two! I think this Caribbean vibe's gone straight to you.
This mocktail has, I'll tell you that.
Oh, what's in this stuff?
Underneath this exotic cordyline.
I know.
Definitely a lovely spot.
Yeah,
Is
it
this
really
one mine, is it?
Oh, yeah, that one's yours
Oh,
there.
thanks.
The umbrella's a bit damp for some
Yeah,
reason.
it's obviously been for a swim.
Well, guys, from the Caribbean to the Far East, do you remember that Malaysian-inspired garden we did in Bitten
Oh, yes.
for Lewis and Amanda? I think we'll raise a glass to that.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a project, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Lewis and Amanda's garden left a lot to be desired, and it was far from exotic. But Charlie's winning design was set to change that, with a screened patio and a centrepiece moongate, which is a traditional feature of Oriental gardens.
Now, going with your slightly oriental feel to it, this is a gravel area of white and grey with lights sunk in to the gravel. So it's very zen, so you can sit in your patio area and just relax.
The landscaping team crack on. Andy starts by lifting the existing patio so it can merge with the new patio stone, while Lee makes a start on the moongate, which will be made from weatherproof plywood.
So I've marked my centre point here. I've just put a screw in there. I've got my string line now all wired up with a pencil on. Just a matter of marking it out, and hopefully it'll be in the right place. So we'll give it a go.
The area for Charlie's new patio is cleared, the hardcore is down, and now Andy can start to erect the uprights for Lewis and Amanda's new screens.
About bang on.
The skeleton of Charlie's design is coming along nicely.
Ooh, look at this, it's lovely.
Looking smart, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's made this seating area much bigger, hasn't it?
Yeah.
'Cause it's all a bit bunched up here, wasn't it, really? So this is the old paving that Lewis put down. He did a fantastic job of it. And to marry the two up, we're going to put planting through. So it's a good way of joining the opposite sort of styles together. And then we have the moongate. So the reason they chose my garden was all about the moongate. So it's got to look good, it's got to look right.
Lee's been doing an amazing job constructing the moongate. It's looking gorgeous. So basically, all he's done is he's got these 4 upright posts, and then he's sandwiched them with his plyboard. And the reason it looks so good is because he's actually screwed it from inside and glued it, so you can see no screw heads. So it's got a really seamless, clean finish. So really beautiful bit of construction, but the worry now is getting it into place and making sure it fits in the holes that have been dug. Right then, everyone, I think we need a little bit more muscle on the moongate, please.
Why is that?
Let's get it in place.
Oh, it's gonna be heavy.
Right on. Yeah, good height, guys. Nice work.
With all the muscle in the garden joining forces, the moongate is coaxed into position. The structure is temporarily propped in place while the team secure it with quick-drying concrete and leave it to set.
Well, that went easier than I thought, I have to say.
Yeah, not too bad, was it?
Well, no, it looks fantastic. So Lee's sort of doing the fiddly finishing touch. He's putting this piece of timber ply on the inside to finish it off and make it look really smooth. So this is the moongate. What's the moongate? Well, you can see now it's basically a wall with a big circular hole in it. Now, traditionally, they would have been made out of a stone, but this ply, it's not indoor ply, it's treated, so that it doesn't sort of break down in the rain and the bad weather. It doesn't laminate. We're also going to seal it again with a varnish, mainly because I want to bring this lovely grain out. But I think it looks fantastic, and I know Amanda's going to love it.
Next job for the brothers, creating the screens, which will add height and privacy to the garden.
So this garden is all about textures and shapes. So what we're going to be doing to continue that theme is we're going to be making these rectangular walls, which we're going to fill with these circular sections of logs.
What we're gonna do is we're going to use 2 upright posts like this, nice and sturdy and been cemented into the ground. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut the rebar. And the rebar, we're going to have these 2 little faces which are going to fasten on either side of this post. So it creates this kind of sleeve on the inside. You know, you can see we've got nice little small ones, large ones, they're all different shapes, so it's just a fact of putting them together and also being just the right size. Yeah, I couldn't do that, could I?
I'm not getting something right.
It is just a massive puzzle, isn't it? It's nice that Charlie's giving us this job.
I feel like to do a puzzle, you need a grandma and a grandpa, don't you, to be honest? They know how to do the puzzles the best, not us.
Bespoke screening like this is fantastic, but pergolas, trellis and rose archways can be bought and would work equally well.
Whereabouts should we put the last one?
Up a little bit. Down a little bit.
With the screening finished, the boys bring a flavour of the east to the garden with a large cherry tree.
Right. You want to knock any more blossom off? When you look back up against a kind of blue sky, it really does highlight the gorgeous blossom.
Yeah.
For me, a cherry tree is an essential part of an Oriental garden, and it really does signify that arrival of spring.
Now, the cherry tree that Charlie's chosen to put in the garden is Prunus accolade. My favourite thing about it is its growth habit. So you can have it single stem or multi-stem, but it actually grows up and branches out. So it's perfect for a smaller garden. It won't get higher than 6 to 8 metres, but it creates that lovely canopy. So positioned here, beside the lawn and the patio, it's going to branch over and create that lovely bit of dappled shade that I think will be necessary in such a sunny garden.
The tree may be in, but there's plenty of other plants to be planted. And David concentrates on dressing the beds around them.
Charlie's making a pretty bold move with the gravel. So I know she loves contrast, but putting black on top of white is definitely a very bold move. But I think it's going to look great. It definitely emphasises that Oriental vibe that the garden already has. And it's going to create that lovely bit of interest and that nice little wandering journey for the eye.
The team are almost done, and with some final details, they finish. Lewis and Amanda's rather boring blank canvas has now been transformed into an exotic Malaysian-inspired garden with its stunning centrepiece moongate. And now it's ready for its grand unveiling.
Please open your eyes. Yeah?
Wow, that's incredible.
The way it all links in together, it's just absolutely fantastic. It is perfect.
Well, I love that moon arch. It really set the garden off and it brought a little bit of the east to Hampshire. Now here, I've got quite an exotic looking plant. It's called Fatsia japonica. And as you can see, it has very large palmate leaves. And it's got a beautiful kind of creamy spherical flower from September to October. So I'm just going to plant it in this little opening in the border, which is really going to show it off. And it's nice because there's already some exotic plants in this border. We've got some crocosmia, we've got some red hot pokers and a yucca as well. So it's a lovely way to showcase different forms and different textures. In general, it's a hardy plant that can survive UK winters. They like partial shade and avoid planting them in the full sunshine. And it definitely gives you that exotic look. Now for an exotic garden in Northwood for Darshana and Noyan, inspired by the Mughal Empire in India.
Our next exotic top of the plots garden was for Darshana and Noyan, whose desolate backyard was in a truly terrible state.
I think it's that thought of not even knowing where to start with it.
But the couple have grand designs for their miniature plot. They love the idea of a Mughal garden. They're famed for their geometric patterns and water features. So the Rich Brothers design was careful to incorporate these elements with an impressive tiled garden with a space to relax in.
Within these Mughal style of courtyards, water is really important. So we've introduced a little fountain that you can see here. I think it'll just be a really gorgeous place to be.
That looks amazing.
First job for the landscapers is to clear the garden and mark out where the new tiles will go. The brothers' design involves two types of tile, creating clean, straight lines with intricate edging detail. These will need to be placed exactly right.
65 centimetres wide it is, so 65 out to here.
The existing concrete surface might be an eyesore, but it does provide an ideal base for laying the tiles. But around the edges, however, where the flower beds are going, that concrete has to come up. Bonnie and Andy begin to construct the Mughal-inspired water feature using concrete blocks, while Scott starts laying those all-important tiles. The blue edging tiles really bring that Mughal feel, whilst the plain tiles are laid at a 45-degree angle to trick the eye and make the area feel bigger.
Contrast works really well, doesn't
It's going
it?
to look amazing when it's finished, yeah.
Probably a bit fiddly laying the two together, but...
It is, yeah, but it's going to be worth it in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The team are making great progress.
I'll stand on it, and then you can just saw away.
And now David and Harry can start work on the arches for the back wall.
Originally, we did want to paint it straight onto the wall, but it actually turned out the wall's in a bit of bad condition, some of the mortar's falling out. So what we're doing is we're using marine ply, and that's going to give a lovely, clean, crisp archway. And marine ply is perfect for it rather than normal ply, because it's much more suited and tolerable to the outdoor conditions. And as you can see, you might not be able to see it yet, but actually you've got the base of the archway here. We're just drawing the vertical sides of it, and at the top here is that ornamental archway style. Right, should we stand it up?
Yeah.
It's going to look cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
One arch down, two to go. The Mughal-inspired water feature has been rendered, and it now has a steel trough inside it to contain the liquid. But first, it needs painting.
The great thing about white is it's going to really reflect the light in the garden and make it really zing and seem bright, which will really show off the light greens of the banana plants and the fatsias. And with the movement of the water, you'll get those dancing sparkles of light on the leaves. Should look glorious.
While the team finish tiling and create beds, Charlie's ready to fill up the water feature.
Now, the thing about water features and pumps is you have to have electric. Now, if you get an electrician in, it makes it expensive. There's a lot more preparation. But what we're doing is using a solar-powered pump. They have come on leaps and bounds in the last few years. So you've actually got a battery pack that charges up from the solar panel. And the great thing about this is, say it hasn't been really, really sunny, you can plug it inside for a couple of hours and it fully charges up. Now what I need to do is test the pump. Now this is the cool bit. It's a little remote control.
But sorting out the plumbing seems to have sent Charlie round the bend.
Calling Harry and David. Are you working out there or just drinking tea? I bet I know the answer. I can see him.
Can you see my eye or my head?
I can see your head and your eye. Do you like my little gadget?
What is it, an old phone?
It's the pump remote control.
Is it?
Got 4 settings on it.
Wow. Thumbs up.
Now all I've got to do is fill this without a hose. 1 bucket at a time. What a joy.
Good luck, Charlie. I think she's got at least 20 or 30 buckets to get that thing full.
The brothers are painting their arches with contrasting colours to create a 3D effect, giving the illusion that there's something beyond the arches themselves.
That's all right.
That's good timing, Charlie.
It's finally time to start bringing in the lush green foliage that is so typical of Mughal gardens.
1 banana, 2 bananas.
Yes.
3 banana, 4. In fact, 6 banana trees are placed around the courtyard.
We've just started to place the banana trees. And what we're using Musa Beiju, and that's actually the hardest banana tree that you can get. So it's going to be perfect down here in London. Though if they do have a really cold winter, they will have to protect it. But the reason we've chosen them is just to really tie in with that Mughal courtyard theme. They're going to provide a really tall, dappled, lush green canopy, really exotic feeling, and then when the sun is beating down, they'll provide that lovely bit of shade.
The team now crack on with the rest of the planting. Everyone's getting stuck in. Well, almost everyone.
It's coming together nice, isn't it, team?
Yes, all this hard graft now. Over.
Hard graft, Harry, what?
Yeah, you just stood there with a plant in your arms.
It's hard. It's hard plant making. Where's that cup of tea?
And with the final few plants dug in, a quick tidy, and some finishing touches, the garden is finished.
Have that one there. Lovely.
Beautiful, right?
You can't have a table without any chairs, can you?
Darshna and Noyan's bland backyard has been transformed into an exotic Mughal Empire-inspired garden. But what will they think of it?
Oh my God! Wow!
Wow.
It looks amazing.
Glorious.
Wow.
It just looks like a different garden.
Yeah, this does not look like our garden.
Those tiles were beautiful, really set the garden off, and what an amazing transformation. I mean, it was just a concrete yard, wasn't it, when we started?
It was, yeah, and it wasn't very big, but at least it was a blank canvas, which meant it was really fun to design.
Right, from India to Japan. Do you remember my yoga zen garden in Bristol for Zoe and Johnny? Do you remember?
Ah, yes. Absolutely beautiful design. If I remember rightly, it was a taste of Japan in the heart of Bristol. And I'm pretty sure we did a very cool walkway.
We did.
With all the bamboo.
Yeah.
No pandas.
The couple wanted an exotic and calming space to practice yoga in, and Zoe wanted to grow flowers for her wedding bouquet. Charlie's incredible design won Johnny and Zoe over, with its raised Zen yoga deck, boardwalk and exotic plants.
So there's a little boardwalk that takes you through all this planting. Lots of bamboos, lots of green plants, white flowers, to this deck area that's raised up over the planting, so you'll feel like you're sort of suspended over the planting, and it will envelop you so you will be screened from the neighbours.
The team have their work cut out clearing the garden and constructing the Japanese-inspired yoga deck.
Andy needs somebody to cut this up here, a bit taller than
You're
us.
having height problems.
You're going to go on my shoulders now. Probably the other way around would be better.
Oh, he's got him.
That's it.
Oh, perfect.
Lee knocks up a rectangular frame for the deck and cuts the corners off to create a rough egg shape. Then he and Steve add joists to strengthen the frame, while Andy and Paul prepare a level base. With the frame in position, supports are cemented in and the boards are attached on top, while the brothers start constructing the boardwalk off the decking.
You're not meant to be laying down on the job already, mate.
Oh, mate, look at that. I've got the short straw here.
Oh, OK, so you're on Zig, are you?
I'm on, Zig. It's that short straws.
Zig
Don't
has short
sit
straws.
on it, whatever you do. No.
With the yoga deck finished, a hole is cut in it, so Charlie can plant a tree to create a shady canopy.
So the great thing about planting through the deck like this, it will make a feature plant of the tree, so it will look like a specimen planting, but it can root down into the soil beneath, so it will actually establish really well. So we're just putting a bit of matting in here to hold the soil in place. So we got a nice hazel.
You ready?
Yep. Look, oh, that's ideal.
I was slightly worried it wasn't going to go in then.
Next, Charlie adds further screening around the deck using some rustic timber.
So now I think I'm going to start about here-ish, yeah? Harry, does that look like it's upright, mate?
Slightly away from you.
Like that?
Slightly to you. Away.
Are you joking me?
No, just one more.
Well, a bit more.
Perfect.
All right, Paul.
Now it's just the hazel which is wonky behind it.
Cut the screws in. Watch the Cosmere.
Tree planted, and Charlie now tackles the bespoke copper-piped pergola with Andy's help.
So the whole idea is we're going to have 4 on each side, and they're literally going to go into these timbers there, like so. Get the effect?
With the pipes positioned, Charlie and Andy arrange them to form an elegant arch. As the garden really takes shape, Harry can start the exotic planting.
I have to say, as soon as you're up here, you have a completely different sense to the rest of the garden. It's got a very calming effect already, and that's why I'm planting Actea. I've got to say, it's one of my favourites. And it's a lovely plant because it has this simple elegance about it. It's got these vertical spires of white flowers, which really stands out in a darker space.
Charlie's also planting the flowers for Zoe's wedding bouquet.
We've got a nice climbing rose. I know an apricot colour is Zoe's favourite colour for a rose, and I really like this one because it's very delicate. There's something very pure about it, and I think it'll look fantastic in a bouquet, as well as the roses and sweet peas and the jasmine. For the wedding bouquet, I thought it'd be really nice to give another evergreen. This is myrtle, and I love myrtle. And traditionally, since Queen Victoria, she had it in her wedding bouquet. And ever since that, every royal that's got married, there's always been some myrtle in their wedding bouquet. So I thought that would be lovely, and I'm sure it will bring Johnny and Zoe the best of luck for their wedding next year.
With some final flourishes, the team are finished. And what was an uninspiring place has been transformed into this Zen yoga retreat. But will Johnny and his fiancée Zoe fall for its exotic Eastern charm?
Oh my God. Wow.
Oh my goodness!
You have been busy.
It looks amazing! Wow! Thank you! You're very welcome.
So that yoga deck at the back of the garden will be a really lovely place for them just to chill and relax and do their exercises. And by having the bamboo sort of flanking either side of the boardwalk, it will sort of calm them down before they even get to the yoga area. And bamboo is absolutely fantastic for creating a bit of a sensory feel. You get the lovely rustle of the leaves and you get the dappled light shining through. You can grow them in pots, you can grow them in the ground, best to go for a clump forming one. But what I will say is if you want to get the best out of them, it's definitely worth clearing the stems. So taking away sort of the little fluffy bits at the bottom, which exposes the canes. And depending on which variety you're using, you can clear up to about 1 metre up. The one thing I'll say about bamboos in a pot, make sure you water them regularly. They're quite thirsty plants. And you know when they need watering because the leaves roll up. So don't let them get to that stage. If the leaves are all rolled up, you need to water it. So you can see clearing the stems like that. You've still got the screening effect of the bamboo and the lovely rustly sound, but then you've got the beauty of the canes themselves. And now for our final exotic garden, Zambia via Watford.
This top of the plot's garden was for Archie and Manjula, who used to live in Zambia. They were desperate to bring some exotic African flavour to their rather normal British back garden. And the Rich brothers' incredible design certainly did that.
The main features are these slabbed areas, and these replicate that kind of cracked earth. So it's quite fragmented, quite architectural, and quite modern. So these lead you through the garden, and then this is where you cross this deck bridge over a natural water feature.
All right.
The landscaping team waste no time clearing the garden and ripping up the turf. Nearly everything must go. Once the garden is cleared, the next job is prep work for the patio. The mark makes a start on the wall, which will divide the eating area from the rest of the garden. The groundwork's underway, and Charlie's dug the pond.
So the boys are using a butyl liner. As you can see, the ground is very stony, so we're putting a good layer of soft sand down first. Then we're going to put some underfelt down to protect the liner, and then the liner on top of that.
The brothers' design features this distinctive angular patio, intersected with irregular deep cuts. But to achieve this unique effect, they first need to lay the slabs, then cut out the shape.
We've gone for the idea of having this dried soil, this kind of cracked earth look. So it's quite fragmented, quite architectural, and all the patio slabs lead off each other. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring it back maybe about 200 mil from here and create a parallel line. That's for the next area of slabbing. And then this is going to be a lovely little run of gravel and maybe a little bit of interplanting, just to break it up, create that step over. It just should make the spaces a little more interesting.
Angles are everything in the brothers' design, and so with paving progressing nicely, David decides it's time for the block wall to get the same treatment.
Within the design, this wall helps to divide the garden. It creates a really lovely space at the back where the sun is. They're going to have that alfresco dining. It's where most of the activity will be. So it's lovely separating that from the rest of the garden. Now, what we're doing with this wall, it's not going to be the same as regular walls. It's going to have a peak, and that angular shape will link in really nicely with the patios in the garden. We've built this using lightweight blocks, which makes it really easy to cut, which is the next thing I've got to do.
The grinder makes short work of the block wall.
Now all it needs is a bit of render.
The pond is also taking shape, and with the liner down, it can be filled. This is the centrepiece of the brothers' design, with its picturesque wooden slat bridge. And the boys have to get this right for the couple to be happy.
Nice. So we're just screwing down the decking boards onto the frame now. And what we're going to do, just to get that bespoke feeling like the rest of the garden, we're going to put up a line and we're going to cut a taper into the deck board. So it's actually thinner at one end and thicker at the other. And then actually just fit in with the whole shape of the garden.
One of Archie and Manjula's fondest memories of their garden in Africa was the wonderful fruit trees it had. And although Watford isn't quite warm enough for growing mangoes, a luscious fig tree isn't a bad compromise.
So I haven't got it right against the wall, and I've also put some wires in. With figs, if you fan them out, you get a lot more fruit on them. So we're going to sort of train this down and tie it onto that wire. This one's going to go on up, and then we'll train it onto the next wire.
But the fig tree isn't the only exotic plant going into this garden.
Ready?
The boys have chosen a sumac tree, the staghorn. It's actually native to North America, but will add plenty of colour to the garden across the seasons.
So why the sumacs?
Do you know, well, not only for its amazing autumn colour and the kind of way that the red links in with the whole garden, but it's got lovely details like the kind of furriness of the stem, the staghorn.
Like the antlers, isn't it?
Yeah,
they're fluffy, really tactile. I think it's beautiful.
And it kind of evokes the African feel as well, this kind of large canopy.
For that savannah look.
Savannah, exactly.
Here in Watford.
Cool.
The garden is really coming together, with a variety of plants dotted around. And tying it all together is the rusty red earth gravel, which runs throughout this exotic garden. The transformation is nearly complete, and the boys can't wait to get the bridge in and see what it looks like.
Who put that wall there, then?
I know.
So let's pass this over to...
Ready?
This way. Back that way, mate.
Don't rest it on the wall there, boss.
It's like, yeah.
Ready?
Bring her in.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, got it?
Yeah.
Right, lower it down.
A bit more.
Jaw end up. Yeah, keep going. A bit more.
How's that look on your end?
Yeah, that's it.
Looks nice. It almost looks bespoke, that bridge, you know.
With the bridge in situ, there's a final flurry of activity as the team pushes to finish the garden. And what was a fairly typical British garden has been transformed into this exotic Zambian-inspired landscape. But will it get Archie and Manjula's all-important seal of approval?
Okay, we're going to spin you around a little bit.
Okay.
Ready? And open your eyes to your garden.
Wow.
What do you think?
Amazing.
I'm never lost for words.
Italian.
But I am.
This is just incredible, you know?
Wow.
Incredible. Wow.
This is really my garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he going to take my weight?
Yeah.
I can't believe
Oh.
The couple are thrilled. So there's just time for one more thing.
Well, that's definitely made me want to go on safari. Don't know about you guys.
Paying? Are you paying?
Yeah, all
Okay.
in. All inclusive.
See the big five?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do that. It does go to show, though, with some careful consideration with your plants, you can create an exotic look.
Even in old Blighty.
Well, we do hope you enjoyed a look back at some of our favourite exotic gardens. And see you next time for some more Top of the Plots.
Charlie Dimmock,
Boys!
the Rich Brothers, and the Garden Rescue Team have a treat in store.
Too much entertainment.
They have come to the rescue of hundreds of British gardens. Now it's time to look back and pick their favourites.
This looks really cool.
Fabulous.
As they celebrate the very best.
I don't like it.
Huh?
I love it.
From extraordinary eco gardens
Thank you so much.
to exotic designs.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Gardens inspired by people.
Is this the garden that you dreamed of?
It is. Absolutely.
Well, I think that's a thumbs up.
And places.
It's the most beautiful garden I've ever been in.
Therapeutic spaces.
Wow.
And the most extraordinary transformations.
Whoa. It is perfect.
Yeah, come on. I want it. Welcome to Garden Rescue.
Top of the plots. Gary, David. Today it's all about transformations of gardens, making those huge changes from something that looks like a wreck into something that looks fantastic.
Come here, Charlie.
Very funny.
Yeah, we've had some real blank canvases, haven't we? They've given us no inspiration, no ideas. Some of the roughest, toughest, heavyweight battles.
One does spring to mind, I have to say, and it was literally like a back alley. I mean, ugh.
Are you talking about Jason and Esther's backyard? Perhaps, maybe a car park?
Yeah.
I think more car park than backyard.
Every garden rescue is a labour of love. But Jason and Esther's backyard was in need of a total transformation. It was nothing more than a concrete jungle with a shed plonked in the middle.
I don't know who planned it, but I mean, just pour down a whole load of concrete. Yeah, not good.
Not good at all.
Not good.
The team certainly had their work cut out. The Rich Brothers' winning design focused on creating a green and private space with a nod to Jason's previous career in the army, with a spectacular poppy meadow.
Let's do it.
But the first job for the landscapers is moving that shed.
There you go, there's all the heavy stuff for you.
Okay, gently, gently. Gently, gently. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's a one-man show.
She's got a manhole cover we can't cover up, but that's it. So just forward. No, when that comes in, that'll be fine. Look.
So this in?
Yeah. So now that's gonna sit over here. Look, it's obscured a bit by the wall. By the time there's plants in here in the raised bed, you barely see it. Good man.
The brothers' design calls for large-framed raised beds edging a central decked area. So Carl sets to work removing the old brick beds and the patio, while everything else is cleared out. Andy can then make a start on breaking up the concrete.
Proper hard, this concrete. It's probably 6 inches thick, 150 mil thick, but it's, some concretes they'll just break up and they'll just come out easy. Big lumps will come out. This like little bits are chipping off. So I'm very glad we're not taking it all out. I'm putting in some holes in it for drainage holes underneath the sleeper beds so that the water don't get trapped in there and so everything gets waterlogged. And that's it though. That's all we're doing, which is great.
Next, the mustard yellow shed has a quick makeover so it fits more sympathetically into the brothers' design. And work begins on the large decked area with the raised beds. First, the joists are laid out and screwed into place.
It's coming together.
Then the large sleepers can be stacked and fixed to create the walls of the planting areas.
So I'm just putting down the decking boards now onto the framework below. And actually, it's all about preparation when you're doing a deck. So the framework underneath is really, really important. What the landscapers did previously is actually laid out all these joists and noggings, get the preparation right with the base, and then it should be pretty fast. Pressure.
With the decking coming on, David's got further plans for the shed.
Now, this garden's all about deception. We're almost hiding the fact that the garden is actually built up from this concrete slab. Now, what I'm doing here is actually putting an abstract camouflage paint onto the shed, and that has a dual purpose. So it's a lovely homage to the idea that Jason had his past career in the army, but also it's just a lovely way of making it blend into some of the plants that we're putting into the garden.
Dave, where's the shed gone? Oh, there. It works.
The next task is a key part of the design. A living wall or vertical garden has to be built that will give privacy. And this is a job for Charlie.
So I'm thinking of running the fence right onto here.
Okay. A larch timber all the way through.
Yes.
Like that.
You can. Like that, yeah.
And then you do your living wall on that bit.
Yes.
And that's just a screen. So just one timber.
Now they've established where the posts need to go, Chris is on hand with his breaker to drill yet more holes into the concrete.
Still really noisy here. The tranquility of a beautiful garden is just a wonderful thing.
The posts are then secured into the holes with more of the grey stuff. The living wall or vertical garden will not only screen the deck from prying eyes, but help surround it with lush greenery. Charlie's keen the wall doesn't block access to the space, so she leaves a gap wide enough for a wheelbarrow, though not a small tree.
Did you see that? Just got thrashed by a lilac right in the choppers.
She also wants to construct troughs, which she'll attach to 3 of the horizontal planks and fill with soil. These will then be packed with plants to create the living wall. These small beds could also be planted with vegetables that can survive in shallow soil. Leafy greens like lettuce or short variety carrots will do well.
Actually got to the bit of putting the plants in now with this living wall. So all I've basically done is created these troughs in the screen, and then I'm going to plant it up. Now the troughs are actually quite narrow, there's not much soil, so I'm using plants that are quite robust. Now the ivies were very, very dry, so I've been soaking them in a bucket of water. And the great thing about when you buy ivies is that there's 4 or 5 plants per pot. So the ivy's going to go in there. Ivies are in, trailing nicely, almost like a cascade of foliage in front of the screen. And just for a bit of zap of colour, the boys have asked me to use these begonias. I particularly like them because of the green and the red contrast. Begonia semperflorens. Semper means forever, florens means flower.
Exactly, and I just came over to say how happy I am that you used the plant, the exact plant that we wanted you to.
You mean I'm doing what I'm told to do?
Wow.
So this means that forever flowering, which means they flower all summer long.
Fantastic. I mean, couldn't have been better news. We'll let you be.
Sure you don't want to take some home for your new garden?
Go on then.
With the living wall complete, David cracks on with the all-important poppy meadow.
To give it that quite informal look, I'm going to be drawing out these little pockets of beds, and that's where we're going to put the poppy within. Cool, wandering path.
And with the concrete dug up, David and Harry get on with their planting.
And there's a reason that we haven't used the classic memorial poppy in this garden, and that's because it's actually an annual, so it is less reliable than the oriental poppy here, which has a permanent summer presence. Now it gives exactly the same effect, but with a slightly larger flower, so it really does have a lovely impact within the space. So all throughout the season, it's going to be a really powerful plant in the garden. Now, we didn't want to occupy this whole space with the poppies. Yes, they're beautiful and they've got such an impact, but we actually wanted to knit them amongst a few other perennials, one of which is salvia. And now orange and purple have a lovely contrasting colour, so it really makes the poppies stand out. And the second is Cicerynchium. Now, that has an evergreen leaf, quite opposing to the poppies, and it means it holds this structure and holds this side of the garden together when the poppies die down. And those all together create a lovely kind of impactful garden that has plenty of colour.
What passed for Jason and Esther's garden was nothing more than a grey, oppressive space. But the Rich brothers rose to the challenge of transforming it. They've created a comfortable, secluded haven packed with lush plants and flowers. But what will the couple think?
So, open your eyes. Oh, wow. Where's my car park?
It's not even the same garden anymore, is it? It's not even the same space anymore. It's just absolutely transformed. It's amazing.
The garden is absolutely fantastic. It's everything we asked for.
And more.
And more.
That really was a wonderful transformation.
Yeah, it was.
Got to say that camouflage shed, mark of genius.
Oh, thank you very much.
Hedges are a great way of disguising those unsightly things within your garden. Now, this beech hedge must be 3-4 metres tall, and it's doing a great job at dividing this garden. And when you have quite an open space, it's lovely to subdivide it into these different rooms.
Now, there are loads of different species that you can use. This one's beech, but along with hornbeam, they're actually semi-evergreen. So they start to copper off in autumn, but the leaves don't fall off until the new ones emerge in spring. So that's really wonderful because you get to celebrate the seasons. Evergreen ones like box or yew, really classic, really wonderful to use.
Talking of structure and rooms, one garden that had none of that was actually Kerry and Mark's garden in Corby.
Yeah, it was a new build, wasn't it? Basically, fences, turf, and that was about it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they met in a pub, didn't they?
I think they did, and that's why Charlie put a bar in their garden.
This drab, featureless space was so characterless that Mark and Kerry didn't even know where to begin. So they called the garden rescue team.
Totally uninspiring.
Spider at the moment, it's just a
There's
square.
nothing.
Charlie's winning design aims to transform this desolate space with a funky wooden bar, topped with a plant-covered pergola to provide shade. And the team waste no time.
So I sold Kerry and Mark the idea of a shabby chic bar in their patio area, just for a bit of fun. But I want it, you know, proper bar. Foot rail, high enough to lean on it, overhanging bar bit so you can tuck the stools underneath. Even a swag of lights.
Round the front, David and Harry are getting started on the accessories for the bar.
A lovely byproduct of having all of these materials delivered to the garden are these pallets. Now, some of them can arrive a little bit tattered, but this one here is in good condition, so it'd be lovely to recycle it into the garden. And continuing with that pub garden theme, I think I'm going to make something quite in-fitting with this guy here.
Upcycling old wood into tables or seating is a great cost-effective way to add a rustic touch. Harry's knocking up a couple of bar stools for Kerry and Mark to perch on.
In essence, it's a very simple construction, and it's almost a systematic approach. By cutting these legs, you've got 4 of them, and in turn I'm going to cut some little smaller pieces, very similar like this, and they're going to fit in between. I'm going to screw them together, and that's going to create a lovely rigid framework for the stool. Now, these posts, they're 3 by 3 inch, and they're softwood and treated, so they're going to have a lovely bit of longevity. And they roughly cost about £16, so that's a very cost-effective way of creating a bit of bespoke seating in your garden.
And as opposed to Harry's more systematic approach, I definitely call this one free-form jazz. So I'm having a little bit of fun with it. What it's going to be a drinks shelf and a wine glass rack. So it's going to be cut off to about there. This is going to be the shelf where the bottles will go. Then underneath that will be another shelf with some notches cut out where we'll slot on the wine glasses. So it looks a little bit rustic at the moment, but I have no doubt that it's going to look great in the end.
Out back, the hard landscaping is really taking shape and Charlie can start planting. A considerable amount of the budget and time will be given over to horticulture to bring this place to life.
First plant going in, and what a plant! And absolutely perfect for this spot. This is the bar area. This is a vine, an ornamental grapevine. It's got these fantastic tri-lobed leaves, which look fabulous with the sun shining through them. And it's a really vigorous climber. And it's known as the Crimson Glory vine, because come the autumn, it changes the most amazing colours. You get red, scarlet, orange, absolutely amazing. And the reason I've chosen it for here is I want it to go up and over the top to make this nice shady walkway leading to the bar patio, but at the same time block the view into the garden from those houses, so it's actually creating a roof on top of the pergola.
There are other vigorous climbers to choose from if you're looking for quick growth and cover. Honeysuckle is fabulous for its sweet scent, Mila Minute lives up to its name and has pretty white bracts, and Virginia Creeper has autumn colour. Out front, David is sanding off the rough edges of his wine rack, and the bar has been constructed and just needs positioning.
Here it comes.
It's not finished yet.
Not finished?
It's too heavy to build it all out there.
So even if Kerry gets up and dances on it, it's not going to tip over because
Yeah,
it's
you're
too
going to tip
heavy.
over. She can dance on this. Drop it on this slab there, mate.
Is that an oak top you've got there?
That's oak top, yeah.
Look at that. Wow. Man walks into a bar. Ow.
I'll get your coat.
All joking aside, no self-respecting outdoor bar would be complete without some bright and colourful planting.
Powder blues, whites, and a few daisies mixed in as well. So in actual fact, those colours are really quite calming colours. And as this is going to be an area where everyone sits and relaxes, I wanted the colours to make them feel relaxed. So that's why I've gone for all the soft, pale, cool colours.
When planting a container, it works well when you have something to add height, something medium-sized for colour and something to trail over the edge like ivy or petunias. The bar is really shaping up to be a showpiece.
Oh, fantastic. This bar's getting better and better.
While there's a frenzy of activity in the garden. The boys have been busy making hanging baskets for the bar to be judged by Charlie.
I've only got one in so far. I'm a little bit scared. Dun 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 dun.
Oh!
Let the judging
begin. Which one goes where?
Do you want that one around the front?
If you don't want this in the garden, not a problem.
I
Really, not a
reckon
problem.
That we put one up there,
Don't
your
actually want my
one,
name to-
next door's garden. No, no. Let's pop
I am not
yours.
offended in the
Pop
slightest.
yours here, and then I reckon yours, matey boy. Actually, I think it'd be better there, don't you? Because if it's there and you walk through, you're going to hit your head on it. Even us short people. Well, me, I'm short.
I mean, I'm not up in the clouds, am I?
You are sometimes when you're thinking.
With the hanging baskets in place and the bar set up with David's wine rack and Harry's stools, as well as some comfy furniture to relax on, the garden is finished.
Oh,
Nice, is it?
Delicious lemonade.
delicious.
Last orders, ladies and gents.
Kerry and Mark's garden was the dictionary definition of a blank canvas. No plants, no trees, no structure. But after this magnificent transformation from Charlie, the couple finally have a place to entertain and relax.
Oh my God, it's gorgeous. Oh my God, I can't take it all in.
It's not our garden. Fridays now, I will be looking forward to even more now, to sit in my own bar, my own garden.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
To relax.
Yeah.
With a drinky poos.
Now, I'm sure the boys won't mind me saying their hanging baskets probably weren't the best, eh? But hanging baskets can be a bit tricky, especially if you're doing them later in the season. Ideally, you want to start them off from very young plants going in, especially if you want to feed them in and around the side so that they grow into one big globe of colour. But if you want to spruce up the patio area or your bar area for a party, which I'm sure they're having lots of in Corby, then this is the way to go. Choose your hanging baskets. Now, hanging baskets dry out really quickly, so you can either go for ones that are lined with plastic and you just pierce the holes about 1 inch or so up so you get a reservoir of water, or you can use a normal saucer that you'd put underneath your plant pot in the bottom of your hanging basket, so there'll always be a little reservoir of water build up there, because with hanging baskets you're going to be watering them at least once a day, in the summertime probably twice a day. And when it comes to the plants, just choose 2 or 3 varieties. If you go for more, it all gets a bit sort of messy. So I've gone for some nice lemon pansies, pink pelargoniums, and then some ivies to trail, which you can then weave in. And you can get potting compost that has already got moisture retention crystals in, which makes life much easier. And with hanging baskets, you want to be feeding regularly and deadheading regularly. Another little handy tip, water in the morning, nice and early, and then during the day, maybe put 3 or 4 ice cubes on the compost, and they slowly melt and drip into the soil, and then that way the soil stays moist, and then come the evening, you can water again. Those in. Right, there we go. Pick up the chain. Ta-da! So all that needs now is a good water, and when you hang it up, make sure the bracket you put it on can take the weight, because it's quite heavy. And for our next transformation, Steve and Nadine in Cardiff, whose garden was literally a building site.
Our next top of the plots garden transformation was for Nadine and Steve. Their space was less than inspiring for their 2 children, so the Rich Brothers design focused on creating a family-friendly oasis with dry stone walls and a children's play area. And once the garden is cleared of all that debris, the first job is tackling the dry stone walls.
Traditionally, farmers and labourers used to use a stone that was just lying around. So all the walls you see kind of out in the fields and in the distant landscape were all made on site. What we're doing is we're kind of introducing more of a modern element to that. So we're using this crop stone, which is usually about 5-6 inches in width. And that makes it a little bit easier because uncropped stone comes as it is, really random sizes, and it means it's a little bit more tricky. But that's what I kind of love about stone walling, is that it is a puzzle. Every stone is different, and you can never make the same stone wall the same way. So we always say every stone has a home. So Dave, you try and find a home for him.
No, don't give me the pressure of that.
Giving you a difficult one.
You have, haven't you? What about there, boss?
Why not?
I thought it was every gnome has a home.
I'm pretty sure it was every toad has a moan.
Are you saying I'm an old toad moaning?
No.
Oh!
I mean, he's pushing it now, isn't he?
He's pushing it. The toys might come out of the pram.
If dry stone walling is a little daunting, this could be made with bricks and cement, something the boys are also cheekily using.
So we're doing a tiny bit of a cheat on this wall. So on the outside, it's going to have the dry stone wall effect. So we've used no mortar to bed the stone in, so it's got that lovely traditional look. On the inside then, we've got this mix of cement, which is going to connect and bind them all together, making it nice and sturdy.
Oh, I feel you shouldn't beat yourself up too much there. I wouldn't say cheat. I'd like to say modern interpretation.
That's a lovely way of thinking.
It is. It's nice. A bit more artsy, isn't it? But actually, I think it's 100% necessary with this. Because it's being used as a bench, as a seat, it's going to get a lot of usage.
Traditionally, with stone wall, you put the stones in, and then the offcuts like this, you pack underneath to make it all nice and tight. But you also use tie stones, and they lie across the whole width of the wall like this. And what they do is they kind of hold the wall together. Without these tie stones, the wall would just fall apart, so they're really key.
With so much dry stone walling to build, it's down to Charlie to make a start on the children's play area.
Right then, Scotty. You ready for this?
I am indeed.
So this is going to be the children's play area, but tasteful, not big pink things and trampolines.
First job, a raised wooden walkway through the plants for Effie to balance on and use as a seat.
So step up onto that, about that high. Then step up a bit more onto that. Then step down onto that. But I thought it would be really good if that was joined together, because I think balancing like that
a nice little turn.
Is
Tricky.
Tricky, but that's really good for children and adults to sort of make it a little bit difficult, not too high, because if you make it very high, then you've got to make sure that there's a cushioned fall. But we're literally going to go up just a small step and then another small step. So it probably won't be more than about 8 inches high at the highest.
The children's boardwalk must be absolutely safe, so Scott secures the posts with cement.
Almost got some mix in the hole.
While Harry and David move on to the second wall, which is L-shaped, Charlie's able to make a start on the other feature of the children's area, a swing made from chunky sleepers.
So we're going, what, 18 inches? Yep. I reckon. What we're doing is doing a frame for the swing. If you had an A-frame shape, then you wouldn't have to go in quite so deep into the ground. But having an A-frame, it makes it way more obvious. So we're just putting the sleepers in, so it'll just be like an upright arch with the swing at the bottom, and we've left enough space so that there's no chance of hitting the balancing beams. And then from the kitchen window, this will just look like an upright timber with a climber going up it. So it won't look like a swing at all.
The stone walls are really starting to take shape.
Look at that finishes her off.
And in no time at all, the frame for the swing has come together, although there's one small hiccup.
It's very annoying. The sleepers aren't the same size. Rustic. But that's fine. That's all right, yeah. It's right.
You can make a simple swing seat by threading rope through holes bored in a piece of timber, but be sure to tie some excellent knots. And with the swing in place, there's just time to add the finishing flourishes. And the garden is finished. Before they called on the help of the garden rescue team, Nadine and Steve's outdoor space was nothing more than a building plot. Now the Rich brothers have spent every penny of the £5,000 budget, and it's undergone a complete transformation. Time to find out what Nadine and Steve think.
So open your eyes.
Oh, look at this! What do you think, Effie?
Whoa.
Bit different, isn't it?
It's amazing.
Wow.
Yes, 2 wows.
I just can't believe it. I really love it. I really do. It's just fantastic, the way that everything's come together and the brief, and we wanted multifunctional and something that would be for the children as well as for the adults, and it's just, yeah, it's great. It's been nailed, totally.
We all have walls and structures in our garden, and by simply putting up some climbers like this clematis, there's a wisteria around the corner, or maybe a beautiful rambling or climbing rose, and that's going to completely transform what would be a bare wall. And transforming the view was one of the issues we had in Birkenhead.
Joanne's small back garden was plain and overgrown, with a terrible view.
I really like the idea of just having a little bit of country in what is at the moment quite a built-up urban area, maybe an orchard. So it feels a bit special.
This was one rescue that required some creative thinking. Charlie's winning design featured lots of stone, timber walls, and a small orchard to help block that building. But the first job for the team is to rip the old decking out.
We're saving that one.
Everything must go, even the balustrade. Next, Andy makes a start with the rocks that feature heavily in Charlie's design.
So what are you doing?
We've just chiselled some sort of flat areas on the bottom of the stones. It's quite rough.
Right.
Put some big anchor screws in there.
Yeah.
Drilled the holes in the stone. We're going to put some chemical fix in there and then drop these in.
And then we can adjust the depth.
Yeah, you can sink this in the ground to wherever you want.
Yeah.
So you can set the height.
Good.
Okay.
The plan at the back of the garden is to transform it into a meadow with an orchard that in time will block out the horrible view.
I think this space looks a little bit bleak at the moment, but, you know, to get that lovely country kind of theme that Joanna wants, introduce a bit of meadow in here, it's going to be beautiful.
Gorgeous. I think it's nice having a natural boundary to it, isn't it? Obviously a bit of an eyesore behind. Once you get some trees, some long grass, recycling some of the long grass that she's been growing, I think it'll look gorgeous.
And they've made an interesting discovery about the soil.
And the decking was previously here, but it's all been lifted. And what we found is that the soil underneath is not that great. I mean, it's really free draining and quite poor. And that's what meadow loves. So by introducing meadow into this back area, it's really going to thrive. And it's got a nice bit of sun coming in as well. So pinch of colour at the end of the garden. Charlie's done well.
No meadow is complete without green pastures. But there's no need to buy new turf. The team is cleverly moving grass from one end of the garden to the other.
Recycle, recycle, recycle.
Meanwhile, at the sunny end of the garden, the brothers are erecting the timber walls.
Cheers, man, thank you.
Lovely, cheers, boys.
This garden was a real blank canvas. And within Charlie's design, by bringing in these timber walls, it's really helped to give a bit of structure and also break it up. And by introducing 2 of them, what we've done is we've created rooms within the space.
There's lots of different ways of kind of creating these structures in gardens. Obviously, Charlie's got this timber wall here, but you can have stone walls, you can have rendered walls, and you know those hard, solid structures are going to be great for kind of creating that shape in the garden. But also shrubs and trees are great to use as well.
And with the sleeper walls in place, and the paving and gravel laid, Joanna's garden is really starting to take shape. Charlie's also incorporating an unconventional water feature fashioned from an old water tank.
So this is a lovely old galvanised header tank, which we've sealed up. And it's just another texture, and it never really goes rusty. I know you boys love rusty.
Ooh, yeah. Gorgeous.
Practical.
And beautiful.
And beautiful,
Eh?
just like me.
Exactly.
I had to get that in because you weren't going to say it, were you?
I was just about to say that.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, Pinocchio.
I was going to say it.
This one here, so 180.
Keep going round there.
Oh!
The stone seat is finished and now just needs placing in the sunniest part of the garden. Although finding exactly the right spot doesn't prove easy.
Can this go back a bit? Yeah. Is that all right?
No.
And I don't mind. Yeah, no.
I think it's pretty cool, isn't it?
So the lovely thing about stone in the garden is it looks beautiful, and once it's in position, it's going to stay there. The downside is it's quite heavy, hence I'm stood watching. That is it. You've got it, boys.
The team is making sterling progress and the garden is coming together beautifully. Charlie's about to plant the first tree for the new orchard that'll eventually block the awful view. But first, David cuts a piece of pipe to insert into the ground so the tree roots can be easily watered.
As you can see, the root ball is nice and wet, and it's going to be a case of placing it up, putting our watering pipe in. I'm going to hide it around the back so you can't really see it, and filling it up with soil and heeling it in. So that means getting your boot in and swashing the soil down so that it's firmly in the ground. So watering is a key factor when you're establishing a new tree, because that's one of the main killers of trees when they're newly planted.
With the last few plants in place and some final details, the garden is finished. And what was an uninviting space has been transformed into a relaxing garden where Joanna can get away from it all. Time to find out, though, if Charlie has delivered.
OK, Joe, have a look at your new garden.
Oh, gracious! I think it's amazing.
Yeah?
I love it.
So far, our transformational gardens have all had one thing in common. They've been relatively flat. Working on a slope can be a major problem, and Kim and Simon found that out in Newport.
Our final top of the plot's fantastic transformation was in Simon and Kim's garden. It may have stunning views across a Welsh valley, but it consisted of nothing but mounds of soil.
The garden is a mess. You need climbing boots out there at the minute.
The Rich brothers won the pitch with a design that features materials sympathetic to the landscape. But before the 3 terraces could be created, the team got to work doing some serious digging.
Got these boys up here turning this over, getting the weeds out, getting that ready to level properly. Got a couple down the bottom there, levelling that out, ready for the paving to go in.
With the garden levelled, next a layer of beaten gravel is added to form the foundation for the retaining walls that create the tiers. These are built from timber sleepers, which will later be faced with the sheets of weathered steel. But first, the team have to shift 15 tons of soil to create the tiers and dig out the steps, all of which has to be moved by hand.
Now, this garden has been designed with 3 different terraces. This lower one is very practical. It's been laid a slab, but has a lovely undefined quality that merges with the rest of the garden. And then this middle terrace is actually a little bit more undefined again. So slowly as we move up, we're getting more natural. Now, this is going to be bound gravel. It's also going to be a very intimate space with shrubs surrounding it, just to create a lovely private area.
And as we journey through then up onto the final terrace, it becomes all about the view. Now, it's going to be really simple here. It's just going to be lawn, but the whole idea is that they can sit down, they can look back and just really enjoy the view and the surroundings around them.
With the timber retaining walls built, it's time to add the impressive steel sheets. But getting them up the hill proves a little tricky.
Right. To me.
Oh! I'm not built for this time, I'm built for speed and agility. So the steel is here. Thank goodness for that, because it is the key material within this garden. It's one of the main reasons that Kim and Simon chose our design. Now, these sheets cost £160 each. They're about 2.5 metres by 1.2. But for the area that they cover, I think that's actually quite cost effective.
This weathered steel differs from ordinary steel. It's an alloy which guards against erosion, and over time, these sheets will develop an outer layer of what looks like rust, but actually protects rather than damages the metal beneath. Zinc or copper sheets could be used instead.
Now, already now with these copper nails, it's really starting to look gorgeous. And what Susie's doing now is just gridding out where we're going to pre-drill the holes and actually put the nails themselves. So not only is the sheet going to look gorgeous, but actually the nails are going to look great. Because it's quite important. It's going to take a while for it to rust and really age and blend in together. So until then, this grid of copper nails is going to look really smart. I think it's super nice to be able to use steel, especially in Newport. You know, this part of Wales has got a deep-rooted heritage with steel and the whole industry. So I think to be able to put that into a garden, have that slight nod to the past is really lovely as well.
On the middle terrace, Harry's ready to make a start on his project.
Lovely. Well, I had a good look around and I managed to find one scaffolding board and also some 2-inch by 2-inch timber. And I think it's enough to create my little bench. They've done my little doodle now, so I'm happy. So I've just got to get cutting and get making. So what I'm doing now is I'm using a countersink, and that really creates a nice little inlet so that when I screw the screw into this piece of wood, the head of it disappears and becomes quite flush and sunken into the wood, so it's a nice seamless finish. Right, take a look. Nestle it in. Take a seat, and it works. I think it's nice because it's got a lovely rustic appearance to it. It's very simple and easy to do. And really, it's going to fit beautifully into this garden because that top terrace is all about taking in that view, enjoying it. And there's no better way to do that than actually being able to sit down and relax. So I think the next thing is give it a little sand and position it, but you couldn't be more pleased.
The brothers have chosen a number of shrubs and ornamental grasses for structure, with splashes of colour provided by plume thistle, penstemon, monkshood, and the bright white star-shaped wood aster.
And the plants are going in. It's nice and busy in the garden, and it's starting to give that lovely soft a natural character. What we've done here is we've actually put a wash of water and salt on the weathered steel, and that's actually sped up that chemical reaction. As you can see, it's already starting to get that rusted patina, and that's linking really nicely with some of the plants that we're putting in front of it. Now, not only does you want it to feel soft and natural with the planting, but also the key was to use certain shrubs and trees to link with the further landscape. Now, one of the key ones is birch. You look in the distance there, you can see their white stems, and you can see their leaves now starting to turn. So actually, having them in the garden was essential to create that connection.
Simon and Kim's garden was nothing but a pile of soil on a 45-degree hill. But the Rich Brothers design turned it into this stunning garden, costing £5,000, with 3 clearly defined terraces, each offering a different environment to relax in. How will Simon and Kim react to the changes?
So, 3, 2, 1, open your eyes.
Oh, look at that. That is unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
Is it really the same place?
No, it's not at all.
No, it's not. No, right. Yeah.
What do you think?
That's incredible. It's incredible. Yeah, thanks.
Sure.
Thanks so much.
Yay!
Thanks.
No worries, it's a pleasure.
Absolutely remarkable.
Oh, wonderful, guys.
Good.
I'm glad you like it.
I can't believe you've done this.
The garden is absolutely spectacular, isn't
no,
it?
it's astonishing. It's quite astonishing.
Amazing. And I think it's the most beautiful garden I've ever been in. I really, really do. And it's mine.
Crikey, I mean, looking back at those gardens almost brings me back out in a sweat. They were all really challenging, but well worth it.
Yeah, and I love the steel in that garden, using a different material. It was really quite lovely, the contrast with the Welsh hills.
Oh.
And what a hill!
It was, yeah.
Some great transformations there, boys. And I'm sure there's many more to come.
Charlie Dimmock,
Boys!
the Rich Brothers, and the Garden Rescue Team have a treat in store.
Too much entertainment.
They have come to the rescue of hundreds of British gardens. Now it's time to look back and pick their favourites.
This looks really cool.
Fabulous.
As they celebrate the very best.
I don't like it.
Huh?
I love it.
From extraordinary eco gardens
Thank you so much.
to exotic designs.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Gardens inspired by people.
Is this the garden that you dreamed of?
It is.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that's a thumbs up.
And places.
It's the most beautiful garden I've ever been in.
Therapeutic spaces.
Wow.
And the most extraordinary transformations.
Whoa. It is perfect.
Yeah, come on. Welcome to Garden Rescue.
Top of the plots. David, Harry, what are we chatting about today then?
Today we're going to be chatting about inspiration and where we all get it from.
Yeah, I find that quite difficult at times. I'm glad we've got the contributors that tell us what they want.
Yeah, one of my favourite bits, though, is that inspiration behind the garden. More often than not, it has got a beautiful story, isn't it?
And I do love, you know, the emotional attachment people have to, like, Nicole in Salford.
Yeah.
She remembers going to a Klein garden in Germany as a child, which is basically an allotment.
Yeah.
And she's got lots of happy memories. So I remember that garden.
Yeah, similar to an allotment, but with a teeny little difference. I feel like a Klein garden comes hand in hand with an all sing and all dance and shed, doesn't it?
Which you did so well.
Ever so easy to build.
We love all our garden rescues, but this time we're looking at the transformations that draw inspiration from special memories. And our first for Nicole focuses on her happy recollections of her allotment, or Kleingarten, during her childhood in Germany.
We spent a lot of our summers there and, you know, after school, and because we had a stove in there, It was really an all-year-round thing.
These are some old photographs of the Kleine garden in Germany.
And then everybody has one of these amazing sheds, not just tool sheds. They actually do enhance the look of the whole plot that you've got. It would be really lovely to have something that reminds me of those nice times that we had in Germany.
Oh, baby, this is it. This is it.
Here we go.
Wow.
Charlie's incredible design for the Kleingarten was exactly what Nicole was dreaming of.
OK, so we have a shed. Now, I know it looks like it's lawn, but it's got a green roof. So we have it as a little summer house. And then we've got a lean-to covered area, which has a pot-belly stove.
The work of making Nicole's dream summer house falls to the landscaping team.
So we've got 2 sides in.
In Germany, some Kleingarten sheds are plush enough to sleep in. Charlie's simple 6-foot by 6-foot structure wasn't that fancy, but getting the look and feel right was crucial.
I mean, look at it, it's fantastic.
And that includes installing double glazing in all 6 windows.
Right.
And a reinforced roof.
King of the world!
I'm loving this, Lee.
It's getting there, isn't it?
It is. So this is, we've got the waney edge, Douglas fir on this side. So is it a hardwood?
No, softwood.
It's a softwood, but you won't need to treat that really, will you? It lasts a long time.
A long time, yeah. It's been weathered, that has, for years.
It looks really nice.
The Rich brothers get the job of building the porch. With foundations already dug, Harry pours in quick-drying concrete to secure the posts.
Yeah, very good, that. I'm surprised. Don't tell me it's there.
There.
Well,
Bottom of...
virtually bottom of the pit.
There we are.
So.
Look at that, boys!
It's plumb on the end as well. So.
With the porch in place, Harry and David get to work on the shed's standout feature.
I mean, this looks a bit bizarre, doesn't it?
Where's that going?
On the roof. And this garden was inspired by a German Kleingarten. And one thing Charlie really wanted to put into this garden was a living roof. And that's great because the Germans actually pioneered that, and it's just going to look beautiful on top.
But you do need to ensure that that structure of the roof is solid before you start adding on the materials for the living roof.
And Charlie's gone for a high-tech approach so as not to overload it.
Is it basically just trays to capture the moisture. So instead of having this huge tray, which holds water and amounts to a lot of weight, you've just got these little cups that fill up, and it means that this space here is nice and light and airy.
I like your Dalek.
Oh, I know, it's amazing, isn't it? It's so simple, but it's going to make a beautiful little feature up there.
That roof is going to be the finishing touch to the shed. Oh, can't really call it a shed. I think we're going to have to name it. It's
Cabin?
almost like a cabin.
Or like an actual human name.
A human name. It's like a ship, isn't it?
Oh,
so I have to crack a bottle of wine over Prosecco, because I'm just about to plant some grapevines.
Oh! Right, let's get going.
Lovely. I think we have to go. Do you have to go the other way, H? Oh no, it'll keep going, will it?
Keep going back. How much further?
Yeah, go on, you got room. There we are. So this is the membrane going down, and this is just to protect the timber underneath. Nice waterproof membrane, and it prevents all this from rotting.
While the brothers get busy lining the shed roof, Charlie's prettifying the patio.
Now, this little area here is a real sun trap. The sun starts off over there in the morning and goes all the way round and sets down over there. So this area here gets boiling hot. So a fantastic spot for some grapevines. So Vitis vinifera. This one's a black sort of fruit on it.
But she's got weightier matters on her mind.
I've got to think of a name for the shed. Everyone put your thinking caps on and think of a good name for the shed.
Bernard?
Bernard? Does that look like a Bernard?
Why not? German name, surely.
Oh, it does have to be a German name,
German name.
Bertha? Heidi? It's a good name, though, Heidi. I like it.
I bet you used to love that programme, didn't you? Dancing through the meadows.
Next up for Heidi's shed, the roof's Dalek-like drainage matting, which the brothers are cutting to size.
Strangely satisfied.
The top of the shed is fully lined and ready for the layer of substrate, a lightweight growing medium which retains moisture and provides nutrients for the plants on a living roof.
Yeah!
It's finally time to put the green into the green roof.
It's so dramatic, suddenly being able to roll out the whole mat of sedum. And this living roof is a real benefit to insects, to birds, and it also adds a lot of biodiversity to this garden.
It's not just the wildlife that benefits. Green roofs can help cool the urban environment and improve air quality, as well as being very effective building insulation.
But also something beautiful for Nicole to look down upon from her bedroom window.
For the last few finishing touches, Steve's adding the crossbeams to create the pergola, while Lee is attaching the tin roof to the porch and cutting a hole for the wood burner's stovepipe. With the stove installed, this garden is complete. Charlie has taken a little patch of Salford and given it a touch of Kleingarten grandeur, with her 5-star shed and the garden around it. But will it live up to Nicole's childhood memories?
Would you like to open your eyes?
Oh my God. Wow.
I think that's a good sign, lost for
That
words.
is just not my garden. Oh my goodness me. It's just so sweet as well, isn't it?
I know, it's cute.
Yeah.
I love it. I really love it.
Really, you just feel happy being in it. Yeah. This is definitely going to give the Kleine Gardens in Germany a run for the money.
Oh, well, that's nice to know.
Well, I thought Heidi the shed looked very pretty with the sedum on her roof.
Yeah, she did look fantastic. Not only does it look great, but actually that little bit of extra greenery will go a long way to helping purify the air in the garden.
Yeah.
Now, I've got Ivy with me. Who have you got?
Virginia.
Oh, surprised she likes to talk to man.
She's pretty tall, isn't she?
So we've got Ivy and Virginia Creeper here because these guys are fantastic at helping to purify the air within your garden. Now, all the plants that you have in your garden are going to help a little bit, but because these grow so large, just their pure volume is going to help a lot more.
Lady's Mantle is also great. It has quite hairy leaves, which helps to trap the particulates and helps to reduce nitrogen levels within the air.
Now, the heady aromas of Provence provided the inspiration for our next couple, Gemma and Mike from Alton.
Gemma and Mike spent their honeymoon in the south of France, falling so madly in love with the country that they were determined to bring Gallic Vavavoom to their garden in Hampshire.
I think we feel quite inspired by our trip to France and our honeymoon, and the idea of bringing some of that back to our garden with the lavenders would be really, really great.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, here we go.
Wow. Charlie won with a plan that promised to bring the sights and smells of Provence right to their back door.
I have dividing the garden sort of in half. This is a dry riverbed.
Great.
And I was thinking of using different varieties of lavenders so that the lavender will go on for much longer, but also mixing in lots of different plants that generally tend to be very pale, soft blues and purples that flop over the pathway.
Central to Charlie's design is a dry riverbed, evocative of the south of France, complete with 3 bridges. But getting the groundwork done is crucial. The landscaping team start by digging up the garden and laying a layer of rocks and stones to represent the meandering stream, before Andy gets on with one of the bridges.
Charlie wants a little stepping stone bridge going through the stream, the dry riverbed. So I'm just going to get these big rocks, just playing around with them really, just positioning them in. Hopefully we'll have a little stepping stone bridge later on.
Meanwhile, another very heavy delivery has arrived.
Coming through.
A large slab of rock that will form the second of the bridges.
No, go with it, go with it.
Fingers. Lovely.
Fantastic, lovely, look at that.
It's gorgeous. And then, over here, we've got the wooden one.
And this one is going to be quite romantic, rustic timber bridge that we're going to cut up, create a lovely structure for it.
Cool, OK.
Bolt her in.
Bolt her in.
And now the bridges are all in place, Charlie can start to barrow in the plants.
Woo, 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 woo. It's a train coming down the track.
Oh, look at this, let's watch this.
Oh,
not even didn't even budge.
Look at that.
You liking that? Nice
I'm
work.
liking it all. I'm loving all the different things.
Yeah.
First plants, though. Look at
Nice.
this.
We like to see.
I think this has got to literally just be the odd plant, as if they've just sort of self-seeded. And I have to say, a lot of the plants that I've got here will. This grass, I actually love it that it's all a bit bashed about and bent. It looks like a grass that's been growing and it's slightly distressed because the riverbed is dry. And then we've got Origeron Garvinskianus, which is fantastic, and it really actually does better being distressed. Trying to grow it in a nice, rich compost, it doesn't really like it. The poorer the soil, the drier, the better and more compact it is, and it will just naturally self-seed around the rocks. Look at that. It's just 2 plants have transformed that bit of hard landscaping.
The dry riverbed may be the centrepiece of their Provence-inspired garden, but Charlie's finding there's already plenty of Gallic touches in Gemma and Mike's garden.
And the wonderful thing is Gemma's got some really lovely bits and bobs that sort of say French farmhouse, things like galvanised watering cans, there's a water bath over there. So by the time we finish the garden, it should look gorgeous, as long as the sun doesn't get to us first.
Harry's turned his attention to planting up Provence-inspired pots for the patio, starting with the romantic job of drilling drainage holes.
There we are. And in this first pot, I'm going to be planting it up with a little bit of thyme and some lavender. And as you can see, that combination is just gorgeous. And it really is very reminiscent of a Mediterranean scheme. They're very soft colours, but their aroma is going to be beautiful on this patio. So these two are going to go in here. And I've got some potting up compost, but I'm also going to put some of this stone in the bottom. And that's because lavender and thyme don't like really rich soil. They actually love a poor soil, and you can kind of tell because, you know, they're very Mediterranean plants, so in turn, that soil tends to be a lot drier and not as rich. A nice little mix-up. What I love about the thyme and the lavender is that as they grow, they're just going to kind of slightly cascade over the pot itself, so it's going to make it very kind of informal. And I think in a French garden, it's all about informality. So I do love this combination.
Evergreen, fragrant and loved by bees, lavender is the one plant that Provence is famous for. So Charlie is determined to go all out to recreate a south of France feel.
Lavenders, they come in whites, they come in the traditional purpley blue. Then you've got what we call the French lavender, which is much more flouncy. And then I'm going to mix in some catmint as well, because it's sort of that whole effect of tumbling over onto the pathway. And so when you brush by it, you get that waft of lavender scent.
Charlie?
Yeah?
What's this plant?
Catmint, Nepeta. It's lovely because it flops, but cats love it. It either makes the cats go bonkers and they run around the garden and have a frisky 5 minutes, or my cat, she literally rolls and lays in it and goes, ugh.
So we're just going to wait 5 minutes and see what happens to Andy.
As well as the catmint and fragrant lavender, the beds are filled with beautiful roses. Et voila! The long, dull patch of grass has been transformed. into a little piece of rural Provence. By Charlie's planting, her evocative dry riverbed, and a handful of the garden's original Gallic touches.
Do you want to open your eyes?
Wow.
Oh my word.
That's incredible.
Oh my.
It looks like something that you see in a magazine. It's perfect. And I can't wait to enjoy it.
You don't have to transform your whole garden to create a feeling or a theme to it. By using plants, you can evoke lots of different images. I mean, lavender straight away, when you see it in bloom, just takes you straight to France and the countryside. And the great thing about a lot of plants, and especially lavender, is it's really easy to propagate and you get lots and lots of plants for free. Look for side shoots, not the ones that are flowering, but the side shoots. And you want to take the material first thing in the morning when the plant's full of moisture. So I'm just going to take some big side branches off that I can take cuttings of. And these are going to be called semi-ripe cuttings. You can also do softwood, but these ones are going to be semi-ripe. Right, so when it comes to cuttings, basically any cuttings, you want to make sure that the compost that you're putting them into is quite free draining. So either add some grit, I'm using vermiculite, or you can use perlite. Just about 50-50, mix it together. I'm using a plastic pot because that holds on to a lot more moisture and you don't want your cuttings to dry out while they're trying to root. Firm it down slightly. Now, so choose nice healthy cutting material. And you want to strip the lower leaves. The cuttings need to be about 3 to 4 inches long, ideally. And in a pot, you're going to get about 5 or 6 cuttings in each pot. Make a hole and put that a couple of inches into the soil, firm it in. With semi-ripe cuttings, they'll take 4 to 6 weeks to root properly. Keep them watered well, but not sopping wet. And one of the best ways to do that, to stop them from drying out, is to put a cover on them. And let those drain well. So this keeps the moisture in. You want to check them weekly to make sure there's no dead bits of foliage on them and that they're still nice and moist. And you want to place them somewhere that's bright but not in full sun, because otherwise it will cook the cuttings and you don't want that. And from this quiet little corner to somewhere very different, Richard and Darren from Solihull wanted to evoke that feeling of that city that never sleeps.
Our next top of the plot's inspirational garden was for Richard and Darren, who tied the knot a couple of years ago in New York, and whilst on that romantic trip, took in the sights, one of which made a lasting impression. The High Line is a 1.5-mile-long public park, elevated above the streets on Manhattan's west side. It has a contemporary design with informal planting inspired by the self-seeded landscape that grew on the elevated train tracks during the 25 years it sat unused.
What we really appreciated was the fact that it was with the abandoned kind of railway tracks and all the grasses were growing out of it. It was very kind of rural, but also very beautifully maintained, and it was just really, really attractive and quite quirky. And that's something that we quite like to have.
This is what I've done for you.
Arit won the pitch with her take on New York's High Line vibe.
This garden gives you a journey through space, taking you through planting. What I've done here is actually bring in some sleepers and some little girders. So again, there'll be planting within this. And if you remember when you walked along the High Line, you had those little pockets, didn't you, of planting that was within the railway track area.
Arit's Big Apple can't possibly come to fruition without the hard work of the landscaping team. who get the ball rolling by removing turf, bricks and paving, before laying a brand new patio with a chic urban feel.
I've chosen porcelain tiles in the garden for a number of reasons. First reason is it is incredibly hard wearing. And the other thing with porcelain is that you can get a whole different set of finishes on it. What I've done is to go for a wood finish. The High Line was made of concrete slabs, but I wanted to give it a bit of a twist, give it the same grey urban feel, but give it a uniqueness for Richard and Darren.
And because New York's High Line is built on an old train track, Arit wanted to bring a railway feel to the flower beds.
In New York, what they've actually got is still got lots of the track left, and they've planted into it, brought in all of these concrete pavers that go alongside it, and that's why we're emulating it here. I thought it's important to bring a bit of that track to Solihull. So here's the bed where they will be. It does need a little bit of work. We're going to get some of this soil moved off and put into the beds at the top there so I can get some more planting going on in that area. I've got Andy out the front, cutting the sleepers to size and get them laid out and start to intersperse the planting as if the sleepers have been here forever. Now, it's really important that if you are going to use sleepers in the garden that you do get them untreated. You don't want creosotes, bitumens, anything, any chemical to be leaching into the soil because it could actually damage the plants. What I love about these is that they've still got that gnarly effect on them, still got bolt holes that are coming in them, so they're very, very authentic. These were about £38 for a 2.6 metre length, so not the cheapest out there, but I thought it was worth getting quality for this garden. I want it to last and I want it to look authentic. Here they come.
Just say about there.
Yeah. It's not a literal rail track, OK? So I didn't want all the lines to be going totally parallel from the house because it's going to look a bit too staged. You've got to play around with it. So I'm playing with perspective. By the time the sleepers get sunk, it's going to feel more real, get the plants in, so be playful.
Once she's happy with the position, Arit can dig the sleepers into the soil so that they stay put.
Voila. Can I have a bit of help?
Oh, yeah. You saved me.
Oh, I saved you. Oh,
Kind
that's
of.
cool.
Well, I don't know
Right,
yet.
You grab that end.
Yeah. Ready?
Ready? You do that?
Yeah.
They're a bit heavy, aren't they?
They are.
Perfect.
They're lovely, don't they?
I know, they're great, aren't they? They ain't cheap.
No, I bet they're not.
£500.
Lovely, but you can't have a Highline garden
Got me
without them,
done.
can you?
Highline garden, high prices. Next one, please.
Next one.
Oh, I'm glad you had your breakfast today. That's it, my love. That's all I
Lovely.
needed.
Nice.
Needed your brawn.
Oh, yeah. Still got some left from today.
I'll work out the rest. Cheers.
To top off the New York theme, Arit drew inspiration from the city's most famous resident.
Just doing a rough outline of the Statue of Liberty. If I were in New York, sat on top of a fabulous penthouse suite, I would see that iconic outline, and that's what I'm trying to create in the garden. So my idea is cut them out with a jigsaw and then get them attached to this piece of steel.
Along with the world-famous statue, Arit cuts out silhouettes of the city's skyscrapers to create a New York skyline at the back of the garden. And with the final pieces falling into place,
it's looking really good.
Darren and Richard's backyard is transformed from a plain West Midlands garden to a vibrant Manhattan-inspired outdoor space with sleek modern paving and a planted-up railway track.
1, 2, 3, go.
Oh my God. Wow.
Wow, thank you so much. Oh, that's absolute pleasure. The big question, is this the garden that you dreamed of?
I think it is.
Absolutely.
I think it is. It's just, yeah, it's beautiful. And there's no lawn to mow, so...
Arit's garden really captured the scale of her inspiration in quite a modest-sized garden in Solihull. But if you don't actually have a garden and
and you live in the middle of the metropolis and maybe your only planting opportunities is a windowsill, well then, a small planting box is perfect for you. And I'm going to show you a nice trick for packing in a lot of plants into a very small space. So the plant I'm going to be using is sedums. The reason we're using this is because they're shallow rooting and they don't mind being bunched really closely together. And that's why they're perfectly suited to being put into this small window box here. So these guys don't like sitting in moisture at all. They love free draining soil. So that's why it's important to put a really good layer of drainage stone in the bottom. That's a good layer. It's a really good idea to actually break up the soil either with some gardening grit or vermiculite. A load of funky shapes, some real zesty colours. Don't think I can go wrong. That little guy's a bit taller, so he can go at the back. He's going to look pretty cool, I think, just hanging over the edge, by there. And what's so great about sedums is that once they've established, they require little to no watering at all. So it means you can look out your window and have a gorgeous display all year round. There we are. Fill in the gaps. People travel all over the world to look for inspiration for their gardens. And one of our favourites was with Andy and Danielle down in Devon because they wanted a little touch of Morocco.
After a memorable break in North Africa, Andy and Danielle wanted to bring Marrakesh to their back garden.
That sort of Moroccan style, the colour, the tiles, the glass, that's what we would love for the garden. You know, we've got a bit of a Moroccan influence inside the house as well. So if that could translate to the garden, it should all flow really nicely.
The Rich brothers' plan, mixing old and new to create the exotic feel the couple wanted, won out on the day.
So what we've done is we've given you quite a modern design, somewhere with quite strong architectural lines, but overall with a kind of more of a feeling of a rustic Moroccan garden.
Dreaming up a sunken patio in the couple's dilapidated garden may have helped the boys clinch the pitch.
Yeah.
But the landscape team have to put in hard graft of excavating the space before the Rich brothers' Moroccan vision can be realised.
It's nice not having a digger on site, isn't it?
Yeah.
With the patio area dug out, foundations are laid and the walls are built and rendered. And then it's time for David and Harry to add the finishing rustic touch, Moroccan-style tiles.
Now we've finished scoring our level line all around the base of the wall, so that's where we know the top of the tile is going to meet to. But what we want to do, because there's a little bit of a gap, what we're making is this shelf at the bottom. So we're putting a shelf of cement there, and that means that the tile's going to have a little foot to rest on. So when we put it on the wall, it's not going to start to slide down and lose that nice crisp top level. And it's literally a matter of starting in one corner and then just working our way around.
With the Moroccan-themed tiles on the walls, it's time to bring in the feature tree for the new patio.
Yeah, let's cut it, have a look what it looks like, and then we'll position it. OK. We're going to position it right by here. So it's going to arch over that way, over this planting bed. This will be a lovely backdrop to it, but it's not going to impede on this area too much at all. So there'll be plenty of space here. The actual branches will be shifting away, so it won't be shading any of this out.
For added rustic charm, the brothers include a low dry stone wall in their plans. And Joe gets the job of bringing it to life.
Well, Joe, I've got to say, in my mind's eye, I was hoping for a wall exactly like that.
Exactly
that is
like
rustic, characterful, perfect.
Brilliant. Glad you're pleased, Harry.
Yeah.
Every rock has its place, like people in life.
Oh, philosophical.
Oh.
With the rendering nearly finished and the hole dug, the centrepiece can finally be put in place.
I think we've dug a hole. Oh,
there he is. Lovely.
Elaeagnus is a shrub more commonly known or more commonly used as a hedging shrub or as an evergreen filler shrub. But you can see when it's left to grow a bit more naturally, it has this lovely open branching structure. Now this one is Elaeagnus umbellata. That's Japanese silverberry. It has lots of silvery interest. So when the leaves first emerge, they're a silver, but they mature to this green. And then in spring, we have these kind of quite dusty, silvery yellow flowers, and they're scented. So within this space, when it warms up and they're sitting around it, it's really going to infuse the air, so that'll be really beautiful. Then later on in the season, it has an orange berry, and that's edible as well. And then, as it's deciduous, it has a tiny change of colour but drops its leaves. But this guy doesn't have much autumn colour. But that's not why he's here. He's here for his shape and also that silvery tone. So for all those reasons, it's the perfect shrub. And it does dominate this space, but that's perfect because it almost offers up different areas around the seating area that you can sit. So you've got that area there, much more open, but by opening up this area here, you've got this gorgeous place just to sit on the wall, underneath the dapple canopy, maybe even read a book.
And every plant has its role to play in the brothers' Moroccan-themed garden. And Harry's set his heart on a bloom that's as popular in Morocco as it is in the UK.
Roses are strongly associated with Morocco because they grow plenty of them for their rose oil. So we thought it'd be very fitting to put a couple into this garden. And the one that we've chosen is actually Francis E. Leicester, which I got here. And we've chosen this because it's a rambler. It's got this gorgeous kind of white, pink blush flower, and it's also got a beautiful scent and lovely small orange hips. And I'm going to position it behind this wall, and that's because I want it to kind of cascade over it, soften it, and it almost connects the wall with the planting behind. So it's a lovely trick. Although it doesn't look a lot now, in a couple of years, it's going to be beautiful and be a real showpiece.
The bound gravel is added to the new seating area. The flower beds are filled up, pots planted, and the garden dressed with Moorish touches. This Moroccan oasis is complete and ready for its grand unveiling. Andy and Danielle's garden was overgrown and unloved, with a poor excuse for a patio and little else. But now, with its exotic planting and simple architectural features, the team turned an unnoticed and unloved space into a beautiful oasis bursting with Moroccan charm.
Open your eyes.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
That was beautiful.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Not too kitsch though. It's not too like, oh, this is what we're trying to do, Morocco. It's quite laid back.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Table works well.
The Moroccan way, guys. Come on.
Exactly.
You know?
Now, I've taken inspiration for this pot from our Moroccan garden. Now, all I've done, the pot itself, when I bought it, was a basic terracotta pot with a blue glazed rim, which is very Moroccan, that vivid blue colour. And then I painted the side here with just an emulsion paint. You can buy the little tubs that are tester ones, a very cheap way of doing it. So nice and bright, and then I've just blinged it up a bit. I'm sure the boys will think it's a bit over the top, but I love over the top. So that cordeline's going to go in there and got a fountain of foliage. Lovely. Now, one of our best inspirational gardens was for Alex and Rachel, who wanted their garden to be inspired by the lost gardens of Heligan in Cornwall.
Our final top of the plots was located just outside Nottingham, but the inspiration for this garden comes from 300 miles away in the West Country.
So we went on a trip to Cornwall and we discovered the lost gardens of Heligan, which was pretty awesome. It would be nice to have that exotic feel, so if we could have some palms and...
Some big dramatic plants.
Yes.
The couple weren't afraid to think big for the small plot.
Alex.
Hello.
Rachel.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
And Charlie's tropical take on the garden was music to their family's ears.
You were after an uber modern garden with a jungle vibe. So tree ferns, fatsias, phormiums, but with the odd shot of colour running through it.
With Charlie's plan getting the thumbs up, the landscaping crew get cracking.
Is it worth marking out where the lawn's going? So when the turf cutter comes, we can just nip it off?
Yeah.
They clear the turf.
If in doubt, crop it out.
And lay a new patio by the house.
First jungly lovely plants coming through.
And then it's Charlie's time to shine with her riot of tropical plants, including everything from banana to ferns and a set of elegant bamboo plants.
Oh, so we're making a hedge of smaller bamboos here, but then I want that big black bamboo. I think will look great over there. So by just clearing the lower section of this bamboo, you suddenly make it look like you can see the canes really easily. And by exposing the cane to the light, they'll actually go darker and you'll get the blackness developing on them.
While Charlie and the team soldier on with the planting, the jungle theme seems to send the Rich brothers, well, a bit bonkers.
It's not often that Welsh explorers get to move outside of their normal habitat, the Shire. But on this one instance, this explorer delves deep into the unknown jungle to find what they think is an extinct creature, known for its long, dangly arms and flowing locks, often found eating a banana amongst the large foliage. Ah! And there it is.
That idiot thinks I'm an animal.
Charlie's putting in the legwork, and the planting areas are slowly taking shape. And now it's time to bring in the big boys.
Oh, my.
Is mine in the house? Yeah. Very good. Just a little bit. Where are these going, do you know?
Yeah. So the tree ferns there, the Phoenix canarians over there, Fatsia there. Oh, Cordeline's not sure yet, but definitely in here, probably Formium. What do we think outside the back door there? There.
As the rest of the team get the plants into place, Harry's creating a miniature jungle pathway for Alex and Rachel's little boy.
Me and Gruff are actually making a boardwalk through this space. It's always like a little balance beam for little Rex. It's lovely to have that sense of exploration and adventure in the garden, especially when there's a jungle theme. So we're going to put some posts in, put a little balancing beam in, and a nice little rope handrail. So it's going to be really exciting.
Cheap and easy to make, the materials for the 6-foot-long boardwalk cost about £30.
It's looking really fun. I'm kind of jealous that Rex are going to get a chance to run on down there through the bamboo. But all I'm doing now is I'm putting in some rounded posts, and we're going to put a little hole through there and put some rope through. So it's a nice little safety element to this, but also it's going to look really cool.
With the large tropical plants in position, Charlie gets on with filling up the flower beds with jungle-inspired greenery.
Got several different bananas in the garden. This one is Abyssinian banana or Ethiopian banana, and I love it because of the sort of red rib of the leaf stem coming up round it, and I like the way the bananas have this big, fat base to them. They do look absolutely glorious. I have to say, I'm really pleased with all the different foliage effects that we've got going on.
In most parts of the UK, banana plants like this will need to be wrapped up in fleece in autumn to protect them from frost. And that is not the only delicate plant going in. Charlie has also chosen the very banana-like canna lily.
So it does look like a banana plant because the leaves mimic the banana leaves, and that's why I chose them. But I love the contrast of the dark purple green against the light green of the bananas we've got there.
In total, Charlie spent a cool £1,300 on plants. And as the last of the exotic plants go in, the garden is ready. This once boring patch of lawn has been transformed into a jungle paradise, inspired by Alex and Rachel's trip to the lost gardens of Heligan.
Do you want to open your eyes?
Wow! Houses!
Oh my
Amazing.
goodness! Oh my goodness! Oh, it's amazing! I I can't believe it, Charlie.
Is there enough plants in here that you like? Don't cry, because you make me cry.
It's like a little jungle, isn't it? It's like incredible. He loves doing balance beams.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's oh, it's like he's going to be lost in there, isn't he?
Charlie, a few tears there?
No. They were such a lovely couple, and the garden turned out well, I have to say.
Yeah.
Even with all your monkeying around.
Well, it goes to show that you can almost take inspiration from anywhere.
And with a little bit of know-how, take that inspiration and not only make special gardens, but also very unique ones.
Well, we do hope you've enjoyed looking back at some of our most inspirational gardens.
See you again for some more Top of the Plots.